Oh.
No one's hearing you. She can't demute.
Yeah, let me see. It says you are connected to audio. Oh, can everybody, oh, we're getting audio now. Can hear you, we can hear you. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so sorry about the technical difficulties. Yeah, so I work with Partners in Project Green, and our goal is to create an internationally recognized community known for competitive high performance and eco-business friendly climate. So we cover 3 municipalities, and our main operation include energy performance, waste management, as well as community engagement and water stewardship. So as far as membership, we have about 100 members who signed up in 2015 and are looking to grow our 2016 membership as of now. As far as water stewardship programming, we have 3 programs on the run right now: our Innovative Water Technologies Showcase, our Water Auditing Program, as well as our Collective Stormwater Infrastructure Program, which really relates to today's webinar, as we're looking at helping businesses install lot-level stormwater management technologies, which really relates to our 2 speakers we have here today, Deeproot Canada, who's the sponsor of today's webinar, as well as the City of Mississauga, who's launching their stormwater charge in 2016. So as far as successful initiatives that we've had, in 2015, we managed to complete a retrofit project with a furniture manufacturer out in Scarborough. The project started off as a $5,000 project, simply a rain barrel feeding into a community garden, as you can see by the bottom left diagram. And then using our vendor network, which I'll get to in a second, as well as expertise and knowledge, we were able to scale up that project to a value of over $120,000. So you can see the progress of the project on your screen. And Calstone, through this initiative, is now able to capture 1.8 million liters of water a year through a series of infiltration and retention ponds, infiltration trenches, as well as rainwater harvesting tanks. So as far as our vendor network, this is what we're using to really heighten the implementation and replication of stormwater management projects on private grounds across the Greater Toronto Area. So we have a number of vendors and technology providers and consultants and experts who have signed on to be vendors, including Deeproot Canada. So we have permeable pavement technologies, rainwater harvesting technologies, green roof specialists, cells and filters, where Deeproot Canada is one of those providers, as well as consultants and engineers. And we're looking to grow this vendor network as well as grow the number of successful projects. So now I'd like to just reiterate that if you have any questions for myself or any of the 2 speakers today, feel free to type them into the chat bar and they'll be answered at the end of the presentation. So I'd like to welcome Jeremy Blair from the City of Mississauga. So Jeremy is the storm drainage program engineer at the City of Mississauga and the technical lead in the city's stormwater charge implementation project. He served as the project lead and the face of the initiative when the implementation plan for the stormwater charge was developed and brought to City Council for approval in 2013. Jeremy is currently building and will supervise the team responsible for the administration of the stormwater charge when it is launched in 2016. A graduate from civil engineering program at University of Waterloo, Jeremy is a licensed professional engineer with over 18 years of experience in water resources and storm drain planning, engineering, regulation, and program development in both the public and private sectors. So please welcome Jeremy. I'm just going to unmute you now. Perfect.
Thanks, Alyssa. Hi everyone, I hope everyone can hear me okay. I'm just about to share my screen. And I'll get into the presentation. So thanks for that introduction, Alyssa. I will do my best to get through these slides. I do have some background to the program that I'll just briefly go through and then focus most of my time on the credit program. So starting off with, why is the city introducing a stormwater charge? And I guess the main reason is that, the city has a large network, storm drainage network. In terms of value, replacement value, if we had to replace it today, it would be quite costly. So this network is made up of about 2,100 kilometers of storm sewers, 200 kilometers of waterways. We have 60-odd stormwater management facilities, about 1,000 outlets to the various creeks and rivers. We also have about 50,000 catch basins, and we also have ditches and swales in the city, about 250 kilometers of those. So we know that we need to increase our investment in this system. We need to make sure that it's maintained in a state of good repair, and also that we provide the level of service that our residents and businesses expect. We also have pressure, so we have areas of the city that are prone to flooding or have flooded in recent years. We have creek erosion problems that we need to address. We have our aging pipe network that will need to be replaced, and we're starting to replace segments of it now. And we also have to maintain our stormwater management ponds to make sure that they are providing water quality. We need to enhance our bylaw enforcement capabilities and our ability to respond to spills, and of course water quality. We need to improve water quality across the city. And climate change, of course, is changing the nature of the storms in the city and is putting pressures on our system. So Council decided that a user fee approach would be a fair and dedicated way to fund the stormwater program. So I'll get into how the stormwater charge works. Stormwater charge is basically a rate that is applied to every property in the city, and the stormwater rate is basically it's dollars per billing units. So the dollars per year per billing unit is set by council, and the assessment for every property has its own assessment. So the assessment times the rate equals the stormwater charge. The stormwater rate, as I mentioned, will be set by council every year. It will provide funds to a dedicated budget for the city stormwater program. These funds can only be used for stormwater. This budget will be reviewed and approved by council every year, and for 2016 it will be $100 per billing unit. Residential properties are put into one of 5 tiers, which these tiers have corresponding billing units from 0.5 to 1.7. So for 2016, that means single residential properties will pay somewhere between $50 and $170 per year. For our non-residential and multi-residential properties, it's an individual measurement using aerial imagery. In this slide, you'll see that the purple area is what has been measured and assessed, and that is calculated into number of billing units by dividing the area by our base amount, which is 267 square meters per billing unit. We have on the city's website, there is a tool where you can enter your address, your street address, to see what the 2016 charge will be for that property and how it has been assessed. So for residential properties, what tier it is in, and for non-residential, multi-residential properties, how many billing units have been assessed, how many from the individual measurements. Going hand in hand with the stormwater charge is the stormwater credit program. And the credit program is really focused on on-site stormwater works that a property has installed or is proposing to install. So the principle of the program is that the credits would reward properties for their stormwater best management practices, or we're calling them BMPs, that provide benefits to the city's system. So they somehow lessen the burden on the city system, and that the credit amounts will be proportional to that benefit. So those are the principles of the program. For eligibility, it's multi-residential and non-residential properties are eligible. Residential properties are not eligible at this time. The maximum credit is 50%, so it's a maximum 50% reduction to the property's charge that can be achieved with the credit. Credits will be effective for 5-year terms that can be renewed. And we will accept applications for both existing and for proposed stormwater BMPs. The idea with the program, the way we've designed it, is that hopefully it will provide some flexibility to property owners in the BMP types that they implement on their site for whatever makes the most sense for their property. So anything from underground storage, permeable pavement surfaces, green roofs, bioswales. We're really focused on what can be achieved by these facilities, as opposed to singling out specific facilities that we would recognize. The credit is by application, and the application would consist of an application form and along with supporting documentation, and we're looking for that information to be certified by a qualified professional engineer. We will accept applications by mail, of course, or in person, but we've also built an online page for filling out the information and submitting the applications online. Information on where to find the application form, and we do have a manual, is available at this web address, which is www.stormwatercharge.ca. There are 3 basic application types for credit. So there's new credits, or first-time credit, for existing works or for proposed works, and credit update type, which would be a case where the site has changed during the term of the credit, such that the BMP has been enlarged or made smaller, such that its performance and its credit score would have changed. A BMP is a best management practice. It's stormwater management works that provide water quality or quantity control or reduce the volume of runoff. So those first 2 types, for new credits and updates to an existing credit, those applications will be focused on how the BMPs, how the stormwater works meet the criteria, basically establishing the score, or the credit score. A renewal is focused on providing evidence that the stormwater works remain in a state of good repair and that they are continuing to perform in the way that they originally performed when the original credit was applied for. We do have information online, again, at stormwatercharge.ca. If you navigate to multi-residential or non-residential properties, you will, on that screen, if you scroll down, you will find the stormwater credit program with some information about the program, including the policies, as well as the manual, and the application form are available on that site. So there's a PDF of the application form, and I mentioned there's also we call it a dynamic portal, or the city has, another way to put it is a system where you would enter in, create a profile, and submit your application online. So as far as the review process goes, for an existing stormwater management works, it's basically 4 steps. The first is screening the application for completeness, and then if it's deemed complete, it would move on to the technical review, and we would look to respond to the applicant within 30 days. So we may request a site visit, we may have comments or questions on the application, or we may move right into the decision for the credit, and then making the credit effective on the accounts. For proposed stormwater work, so we recognize that some properties may wish to, or property owners may wish to, before they construct, they may wish to find out what their credit amount would be for those. So we have a process for that. And basically the difference is there's an additional step. The first decision is a pre-approval subject to the works being built and certified. So that step 4 on the screen is after the works have been constructed and are operational, that certification, they contact the city with certification that the works have been constructed. Credit schedule, this is in the policy and in the bylaw, I believe, and this lays out how the score for the credit is evaluated. We're focusing on 4 different areas, which really reflect 4 key areas in the city's stormwater program, being reducing peak flow, improving water quality, reducing the volume of runoff that leaves a site, and having plans in place to prevent pollution in the event of a spill, for example. The weighting of each of these categories is shown in this table, from 5% for pollution prevention plan up to 40% for peak flow reduction. It gives an indication of the weighting within the city's stormwater program where the city's funds are focused, and the credit would be maxed out at 50%. So I'll just go through the 4 different categories briefly. So peak flow reduction, which is up to 40%. To achieve a full credit, we'd be looking for controlling the 100-year post-development flow to the theoretical 100-year pre-development flow condition for the site from the impervious surface areas or the hard surface areas of the site. And we will recognize a fractional score based on what fraction of the target is being met. For water quality treatment, basically for full credit would be all the impervious surface areas on the site are draining to and being treated by a stormwater quality facility. And again, we will recognize a fractional score. If part of the site is receiving water quality, we will recognize that part of the site. Similarly, runoff volume reduction. We're looking at, for full credit in this category, would be retaining the first 50 millimeters of rainfall that lands on the impervious areas of the site during a single rainfall event, and we would expect that water is somehow is either being uptaken by other means, whether by infiltration or evapotranspiration or a combination, or if it's being used for irrigation. But the idea is that water is not leaving the site. And finally, for pollution prevention, so having a pollution prevention plan, full credit would be a plan that has been completely implemented. We recognize that, particularly for larger sites, larger operations, a pollution prevention plan may take a number of years to implement or a certain period of time, so we would recognize, again, a fractional amount for the percent of the plan that has been implemented. There will be some terms and conditions associated with the credit. Primarily, the conditions would be focused on the expectations for how the works are being operated, maintained, and inspected, and to the point being that they are adequately inspected and maintained. We would be looking to the applicants to include in their application and in the report that supports their application what the inspection and maintenance needs are for their particular stormwater works, and so the condition will be that they live up to that they conduct those inspection and maintenance programs as they said that they would. So those are all the slides that I have. you can, again, there's the website, stormwatercharge.ca, which has the estimator for how much the charge is for a property. There are reports and the corporate policies are available there. We do have a request for review process for the stormwater charge assessment. And as I mentioned, information on the credit program is there. If you have any questions, you feel free to send us an email at stormwater@mississauga.ca. Mississauga also has a 311 customer call center. And with that, Alyssa, I'll pass the screen back to you.